Hi, my name is Melissa Druskis. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst and owner of abcbehaviortx.com. Today I'd like to go over my experience hours tracking form for BCBA and BCABA students. It's very important that we keep track of our hours to make sure we're reporting the correct information to the BACB and so our supervisors feel comfortable signing off on our hours. This form will help you keep track of your hours each 2-week period, as well as your overall hours throughout your supervision experience. This form that we're looking at here is for each period. You would enter your start date for your 2-week period, your end date, and then here you can keep track of all of the tasks that you complete within that period. You can enter the date, the time you start a task, the time you end a task. If this is a client-related task, you can put your client's abbreviations in here. You can check off each of the tasks that you completed in that time period, select the experience type, list any comments or descriptions of the task, and it will automatically calculate your hours. Let's go ahead and enter some data and see what that looks like. When you enter the time into this spreadsheet, make sure that you use the hour, minute, hit space, and then AM or PM. That's going to let the Excel formula know that it needs to calculate hours over here. It will not work if you don't select AM or PM. Once you have that information in, you can just type an X for whatever things it is that you did during that session. Green is for the restricted or the direct hours. All of the blue is for the unrestricted activities, and orange is for supervision. That's anything else that you may complete that's not listed under these things here. And just make sure that if you do select other, you provide more comments or descriptions of what it is that you did so your supervisor understands what the other task is that you were working on. If you select therapy, you would definitely want to select restricted or direct under experience type. And then it's calculated 1.5 hours for direct therapy, and you can see that listed right here. In addition to totaling your hours here, it will also put your hours in a format that's easy to transfer to a supervision form. A, B, C, D, and D2, those correlate with the supervision form from the BACB, A being the independent experience hours accumulated, excluding your time with your supervisor, B being your supervision hours that are individual, C is small group supervision hours, D would be your total experience hours, so the sum of A through C, and then what I've called D2 over here is the number of direct implementation hours. Let's take a look at a form that's been filled out more completely. In this form, you can see that I have several dates and times with several activities being completed, restricted, unrestricted, and a variety of supervision activities. And I also have my start and my end date for the 2-week period. In addition to calculating your hours, this spreadsheet will also take this information, the different tasks that you complete, and put it into a pie graph for you to analyze and see what you're spending most of your time on. That can be found over here underneath the descriptions of the restricted and unrestricted activities, is your utilization of hours. So you can see that so far, which has only been a day and a half of information that's been put in there, most of the time has been spent in supervision. All of the data from each of these 2-week period tabs gets transferred to the tab for your total hours. This tab here, you do not need to ever type anything into it unless, and it's noted here, unless you need to adjust your hours meaning reduce your hours, to make sure that you're at the correct supervision percentages and that you're not over in your hours. So here, all this information can be easily transferred to a supervision form by either you, the student, or by your supervisor. But all of this is pulled from these tabs over here. So let's take a look at what some of these different colors are on here. So period 1, this is a completed period. If anything on here changes colors and you're completely done with that 2-week period, that means there's a problem and you need to adjust something. So the total number of days in the period has turned blue. So that means that your 2-week period is longer than 14 days. So right here it says 15 days. And there's also an overlap on the 16th for period 1 and period 2. So that means you'll need to go back and change this to make sure that it's 2 weeks or less. Here, this is orange. So that means that your small group supervision is more than 50% of your total supervision hours. So if you've only done 1 hour of individual supervision, the max you can have for small group supervision is also 1 hour. Under D, on period 1, this is turned yellow because you cannot claim more than 60 hours. So here, this is supposed to be your total hours excluding supervision. So you have 60 hours here and then 2.5 hours in supervision. That means the total number of hours you're claiming is 62.5. So A, this right here, can never be more than 57 hours. Because if you're at that, you would have 3 hours of supervision. It's turned yellow here, and remember this is just a partial period. We haven't completed filling this out, because so far you have less than the number of hours you can claim. So you cannot claim less than 10 hours per week, which would be 20 hours for a 2-week period. And then as we come down here, we can see that this is red under supervision percentage. So this is only 4% supervision and you need to have 5%. If you really didn't receive enough supervision for that 2 weeks, the only thing you can do is just delete some of your hours that you've received here. You can do that by directly typing on this form. However, it will delete the formula, which is absolutely fine. Or you go to the tab for where the error is, and you would just have to delete some of your hours. So if it was period 2 and there was an error, I would just need to go in and delete some of these. If you want to delete the hours but still remember what you worked on, you can just delete the time here. And it will not calculate that anymore, but you'll still have the details of what it is that you did. Also, all of these are hyperlinks, so if you need to quickly jump to a certain period and you don't want to scroll through all these tabs, you can just click on it and it will take you right to that period. The last thing we have to look at is this section over here. It's calculating your total hours across your whole supervision experience, your total direct hours, and then it will give you the percentage of direct hours that you've completed so far. So just remember that over the course of your supervision experience, you cannot have more than 50% direct hours. It's okay if it's higher than that in the beginning, but as you get towards the end, you'll want to make sure that this is at 50% or less. Hopefully this will be helpful for tracking your hours for supervision as a student, and also for supervisors to be able to know exactly what your students are doing so you feel comfortable signing off on their work. You can download this form by going to my website at abcbehaviortx.com, going to Therapist Resources, selecting Free Templates, and the form we just reviewed is the Experience Hours Tracking form. Just click here to download it.